After news broke about the Uber executive that suggested digging up dirt on journalists, now we hear about its internal app called GodView. One has to wonder how out of bounds Uber is compared to the rest of the companies in Silicon Valley. Joining us now to talk about that very topic is Corey Martin, Managing Director of Consumer Marketing for Allison and Partners. Corey, thanks for joining us. Now, you say with great companies come great responsibilities. How does this relate to Uber?
Essentially, Uber, like many of the companies making apps these days, they collect a ton of consumer information, and that information is power. And with that kind of information, they have the responsibility to protect their consumers, to make sure that policies, and not just policies, but aspects of the application are in place so that consumer privacy issues are not violated.
And in light of that, how does Uber differ from other companies, big and small, in Silicon Valley within the startup landscape?
So I think Uber specifically, the nature of the application, the thing that makes Uber great is that you're able to track your drivers, so you can see where they're going and where they're coming. That tracking ability also relates back to consumer data, where they're going from location to location. Uber gathers all that information and data. Their policy, their privacy policy, states that they use that only for legitimate business purposes, which for the most part is probably true. We've seen, because of this controversy, we've seen how they potentially are thinking they could use it in other ways and are threatening reporters in the press how they might use that data. The reality is that the permissions that consumers have to deliver or grant applications are pretty much writ large allow companies to access all kinds of privacy data. Applications, gaming applications, as well as financial applications, everything from recreation and entertainment to business have access to a broad swath of consumer information. And it's pretty consistent across all applications.
And the key word there being, of course, data, which makes me think about Facebook and Google, because they have all the personal information at their fingertips of their users at any given moment. So how do these companies deal with personal information?
Facebook and Google have learned the hard way that they have to honor consumers' wishes and try to communicate with consumers. They have a lot of information and collect a lot of information. And they have to institute privacy. They have privacy guidelines that are instituted and in place. Facebook, in particular, has taken proactive steps to communicate with consumers well in advance of their changing privacy policy, which from time to time has changed. They've learned that the hard way, that they have to do that. I think when we look at apps and when we look at the companies behind apps, they're going to have to communicate better with consumers to really inform them what the privacy issues are and what kind of information consumers are delivering to the companies.
And Corey, just real quickly, how can consumers protect themselves using apps on Android and iOS right now?
Android has apps like Privacy Grade that allow consumers to take a look at the apps on their phone and give them a grade based on how vulnerable that app might make the consumer. iOS looks at things a little bit differently. They actually have standards in place, privacy standards in place for any app that wants to get approved on the iOS platform. So Apple is very concerned about privacy issues and making sure that their whole brand identity is about ensuring and securing privacy for their users.
Great. Well, thanks for watching. I'm Morgan Brennan. Have a great day.